Yo, what up guys, Travic here, and today we got some absolutely positively fantastic news. Path of Building is indeed out, and we can figure out all the ins and outs of our characters and find out how much we were either dead spot on about our characters or completely wrong. Today's video is not going to go over the monk and how to fix the monk, but today's video is going to talk about Path of Building, how to use it, the very basics behind it, and things that you can learn to pretty much import your character and start to figure out what's going on. First and foremost, to download Path of Exile, you're going to go to this GitHub page, and I'm going to link for you down below in the description. You'll scroll on down here, and there'll be an exe file that you download, install, and run. Windows is going to give you that, oh my God, we don't know if this is safe. You can click past that. You can install it. Path of Building is pretty good. There's never been any problems from this developer. It's pretty good. Once you install Path of Building, it's going to look like this. You're not really going to know what's going on, and I'm going to take you step by step through what you need to know. First and foremost, every so often, Path of Building down here will let you know that there's an update. You can press the check for update button. It'll check, it'll run its thing, it'll see if there's an update, it'll automatically update for you. Path of Building being brand new is probably going to have a billion updates over the next couple of days, so make sure you check it often. First and foremost, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the new button. Eventually, GGG will let us press this import button. We could pull our accounts and we can immediately put it into Path of Building, and we could pull our characters and we won't have to do any of the hoops or dazzles or anything that we have to go through. But when that's enabled, I will let you guys know and we can create a new video about that. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press the tree button, and it's going to look like this. This is the entire skill tree, all of the ascendancies of your characters on the outside. And since we're just going to be learning how to use this, I'm going to work on my monk and build my monk in front of you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to Ranger. I'm going to click on the button Monk. I'm going to come over here for my ascendancy, and I'm going to pick my ascendancy. What I'm going to do from here is I'm going to log into my monk and start importing the information of my character to Path of Building. I'm going to import all of the gear. I'm going to import the passive tree, and we're just pretty much going to go through everything that we need to do. Oh, surprise cat. Here's the cat. Say hello. Meow. No. Okay, you can sit in my lap while we do this. So the first thing that we need to do with Path of Building is we're going to either decide if we're going to import our gear or if we're going to import our passive tree. Pretty much if we're going to import our gear, we would come over to items, and we'll start there as it's the easiest thing. We're going to press I. We're going to come over to our gear. We're going to press Control C to copy our gear. And then we're going to create custom, Control V, our gear. We're just going to go right in, and we're going to add it to build. And then we're going to do this for all of the gear on our character. So we Control C our thing, our ring, create custom, put it in, add it to our build, grab our helmet, do the same thing, Control V our helmet right in. Or I guess it didn't work because we didn't click into the game. Make sure you click into the game, Control C your item, Control V, it goes right in. Double check, make sure everything looks good, add it to the build. And then we're going to do this for every single item in our build. Now, when we can import our character, it will be a hell of a lot easier. We won't have to click in and out of the game. We won't have any problems. We'll be able to do everything that we want to do really fast. But in the meantime, while you're trying to learn, you're going to have to sit here and import the gear one by one. Now, you're going to notice my character's missing my gloves. I'm leaving them off the character purposely. They're on another character because I want to show you how to look up gear. There will be a box down here where you could search the gloves or the item that is unique to your character. Click on them and then just add them to your build without any problems. And then you can corrupt your gloves and add a corrupt. You can give them an enchant, add an enchant to them. You could fix your roll ranges depending on the corrupt. And then you can even like edit it and type in different things and add it to your build. I do need to go grab the gloves off the other character because I'm going to now be short lightning resistance because I don't have them from my current, my current character. So we're going to import our rings. And then once we have all of our gear imported, we could check right away and we would see our stats and resistances and what they look like. Your stats and resistances should match up with the character how it is. If it doesn't match up, you should definitely go back and double check your gear, take a look at what's going on, make sure everything lines up and everything's starting to look smooth. Once it's really looking smooth and you don't have any problems, you'll be able to start really getting a good comparison for your character. If you import and upload things wrong to your character and don't put it in properly, you won't get a really good feel for how your character is looking and what's going on. So you have to make sure until we can import our characters, we spend proper time putting in our character. Otherwise, we're going to have huge problems. And there we see right now, our resistances are nice and capped. We have a little bit of energy shield. Everything's looking pretty good so far. And we can go to the next steps. Now we can either import our tree or we can import our skills. Before we do the tree, let's do the skills. Skills are relatively easy to do, and they shouldn't be too much of a pain in the butt. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna hit new. We're going to type the skill that we're using, and then we're going to double check our supports, and we're going to add in our supports that we're using for our skill. So now we have a meditate, and we're going to have arcane tempo and art and second wind. And hit new again. We're going to grab our tempest flurry, and then we're going to put in our support gems. So we have a lightning mastery, not a problem. We're going to get an inspiration, not a problem. Rage, do that. We're going to do a martial tempo, put this in, and then we're going to grab our last ones. We're going to do primal armaments, and we're going to put everything in. Now, our Tempest Flurry has quality, so we're going to make sure that we set our quality to 20. This is very important for our skill. And then we're going to go down the list, and we're going to add the next skill, which is our Charge Staff. Let's see, Charge Staff is right there. And then we just do the exact same thing. We grab Overcharge, we click it here. We grab Shock Siphon, we put this in. We grab Persistence, we put this in. And then we grab Ambush. Now, the really, really cool thing about Path of Building is I can actually come to my skill here, right here under main skill, take a look at my skill, and I can see exactly what it does and how it works. And I can click on and off things, and these multipliers and numbers should change depending on what skill I have, what's going on. See, I go to Charge Staff, I go to the Shockwave, and I can see the Shockwave has a 43% chance to crit. I turn this off, and I turn off all these things, and the numbers in theory should update depending on what's going on and how it's set up. Same thing for Tempest Flurry. I can come over to Tempest Flurry, and I can start clicking off these skills, and we start to notice right away that the DPS starts to go down. So what's really cool is I could start putting in other skill gems and really get a good feel. So like I could put in Heft, for example, here, and I could take a look at what it does for my damage, and I could start comparing the two different damage types and see right away which damage skill does more. So this is why it's really important we put in all of our skills and do all that. And to come down the list, we're gonna do Tempest Bell, and we're gonna put in Leverage. Now, we have to make sure that we put in all of the skills and all of the everything right, because there's going to be a calculations and a configuration tab that we have to mess around with. And this is going to give us a really good feel on if we're setting things up right or not. So if we don't put in everything exactly, when we go to our calculations tab and we try to put things in, everything is just going to break and it's not going to work the way we want it to. So we need to make sure that all of our skills and all of our stats and all of our everything are indeed put in correctly. So like, see, I didn't even put the right thing in. I put the wrong skill in. I clicked on close combat. I didn't click on combat frenzy, and we saw we had an error. So you have to really take the time to double and triple check that you put everything in. Once we're able to upload our characters, everything will be a lot easier. We won't have any problems or any issues, and everything will work out absolutely beautifully. So we have Conduction, Cold Mastery. We come on over to the last one. We put in Innervate, and then we do the same thing. We put some quality, and we got to go back. We got to put quality on everything. Now, some skills, some interactions, some stuff in Path of Building might not work. It does break. It is a brand new piece of tech and software. The owner of Path of Building is very, 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 very quick to make changes, very quick to make fixes. So if something is broken, you can go to the website. You can put in, what's broken, what's not going on. You can make a report about it, and they should, in theory, be able to update things relatively fast. And like I said, you should start to see a ton of updates to your character and to the software relatively quick. And people are going to be able to start linking each other their POBs. So like if you like come to my Discord and you're like, hey man, I need some help, what's going on? You can easily put everything inside of Path of Building and link us your Path of Building, and it'll be 1,000 times easier for us to be able to sort all of your problems. And we'll be able to like figure things out. Now, something to note too, if you don't quality something, you're not supposed to quality it, like Eye of Winter. We don't want quality. Don't put quality in your Eye of Winter, because then shit's just gonna break, and we don't want it to break because we're trying to figure it out. Let's see, upheaval. And then what do we have here? Mobility. All right, so we have our items in now. We have our skills in now. We can start to see what our skills are doing. We can start to see how much our third strike's doing, how much our fourth strike's doing. We can see what our crit chance is with only our gear and no charms, no passives, no nothing. Let's work on the passive tree. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I understand it's not the most ideal, but once we start going through it, it'll be a lot easier. These small attribute nodes you see right away, you can easily swap between I, S, and D, 1, 2, and 3. I'm putting these in, and it shouldn't be a problem. So we press 1, or we hold 1, we click on the thing, it goes right in. We hold 1, click on the thing, it goes right in. We take our crit set here, and then we come over here, we hold 2 for strength, 1 for int, 3 for dex. We put those right in. We come here, and then we're just going to do the exact same thing where we start putting things in, and we make sure that we put things in correctly, including our jewel sockets and everywhere that we have points, because we want to make sure that everything looks good. Now, once we have everything in the tree, once we have it all sorted, everything will start to look nice, and we'll be able to figure out where, if our build has any problems, just how to fix them. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to come here. Let's see, can I scroll this out to make life a little bit easier? I cannot. Okay, so we're going to come here. In strength, this and this. Strength again. Make sure we click Chaos Inoculation. We're going to grab this jewel socket, and then we're going to do this, take this. Looking good. Come scroll down over here. And then I'm just going to put these in really quick off screen so I don't have to click in and out. And then we'll talk about the absolute next steps that you guys need to do. So let's just fast forward this in right away. Put this on Dex, put this over here. I'm sure you guys actually want to see this. So what do we have here? We have int dex jewel socket. So int dex jewel socket, click this, go here, take this, looks good. Then we're going to take strength over here, strength again, strength again, strength again. We're going to take the jewel socket. I believe it is strength. Oh, it's int. See, you got to double, triple check all of these. Int, click this, and then it's strength, dex. I know somebody's gonna be like, oh my God, this is a pain in the ass. Why are we doing this? Well, it's good because it'll let you see what the hell's going on with your character, and you'll be able to fix things. And if something's broken on your character, or you come to me and say, I don't understand, I have all the same gear as you, and then we look at your POB, we'll know right away if you actually have all the same gear and be able to see what's going on. So once you have this sorted and inputted and saved, it's quite easy to make adjustments as you need to, and you won't really have many problems. Okay, so let's do this. Let's save this in the meantime. Trav Monk. This way, if the system crashes, we can fix things. So we have 100 out of 123 points in. This says we're only level 77, so we know right away we missed a bunch of points. We did miss these over here, so we're going to put these points in here. We check again. Level 84, we are indeed missing some more points. Now, we can put in the other two weapon swap points. I'm not going to bother putting in the weapon swap points right now. but I do need to figure out where I indeed miss some points. So we have this here, these points here, this point, those points, these points, those come down there, this comes up here. We missed this little tiny point. I missed this point right here. I missed these points here. We're level 92, we're level 94 in game. So we are indeed missing 2 tiny points somewhere. Where are we missing 2 tiny little points? Oh, I know where we're missing them. Perfect. We figured it out. We're missing the charm slot over here. We collect the current charm slot. So now we have our tree put in and we can start to see our damage looks 219,856. We come inside of game, we take a look. Our damage doesn't line up yet for 2 reasons. 1, we are still indeed missing things. And 2, oh, actually we're missing our gloves, so we're missing a lot of damage. So this is like really cool. So look, watch this, watch this, watch this. This is the beauty of POB. If I take off the gloves, look how much damage I drop. Actually insane. Actually insane. That's how you know those gloves are busted. That's how you know. This is the beauty of Path of Building. You can click on your gear and actively put it gear and see if it's good. So all these people are like, oh my God, should I get the Hand of Wisdom in action? Go put it in your POB, see what happens, see how it affects your character. And then we could do the same thing for different weapons. We'll actually grab different weapons on our monk once we finish building our character and put in different gear, and you guys can see how it works in real time. So we're gonna come over here, we're gonna grab our gloves, we're gonna put our gloves on. We're gonna take a look at what our damage looks like. We're 340 there, we're 219 here. So we are indeed missing things. You see we're missing all of our jewel sockets. So now we have to come in and grab all of our jewel sockets, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna Control C our gear. We're gonna create it and customize it. We're gonna add it to our build, and then we're gonna find the correct jewel socket that goes in, and then we're gonna put the jewel in. And a bunch of you guys message me all the time, is the Against the Darkness worth it? Do I grab it? Do I not grab it? And you could put it on and in and just take a look at in real time. It should update when I put the jewel in what my attributes and what my stats look like. So see 379, 362, 616. And then I come over here, I grab the jewel, I put it in, and then it works fine. Now we're noticing right away we have a problem. We have a little bit of a discrepancy. In game, I'm 401, 400, 602. And this doesn't match up. So something's wrong. And I'm wondering if it's the way that it's doing the ingenuity, or if the game's not doing the ingenuity correctly. And this is where things start to get really interesting, because you could see the real life math of your character. And did I import it right, or is it working? And now we can start to figure out, wait, is ingenuity broken? Are my rings broken? Did something not load correctly? What is the game not doing that it's supposed to do? Is POB broken? And we can start to figure out where the discrepancies lie. Like, this thing tells me I'm supposed to have, like, I have more strength and more dex and less int. And I'm wondering now, maybe did I click something wrong on my skill tree? So now I got to like go through my skill tree and try to figure it out. But we'll do that in a second. Let's work on the skill charms. Let's come over here. Let's grab this. We're going to apply this. This one doesn't actually matter where it goes. Come on over here. We're going to just add this to a jewel socket. We'll put this in a jewel socket. The only one that matters is the Verana jewel. We'll come on over here. We'll grab the Verana jewel. We'll stick the Verana jewel inside a Path of Building. We'll find the correct socket that it goes in. We'll put the Verana jewel in. We'll make sure that it works and it does what it's supposed to do. And we see right away the Verana jewel just not working inside a Path of Building yet. And this will eventually get updated. This node will get updated. This will work eventually, and we'll get the correct information. So what this tells me right away is that there are issues with Path of Building, and certain attribute things are not calculating properly. But that's to be expected. The software's out only a couple of hours. And the whole goal of today is to just put our characters in, start building our characters, and just get the absolute most basic idea of what's going on and a feel for our characters and how we could start to just make things a little bit better. Now, see, I put the same jewel in. I want to make sure I put the correct jewels in. We grab this one already, Arcane Soul, Armageddon Solace. We grab this one. We don't have Damnation Prison. We're going to grab Damnation Prison. We're going to put this jewel in, and we're going to pull Path of Building back over in a second as soon as we get everything put back into the build. Okay, so we do this, we put this in, we come over here, we control C this one, we control V, we put this into our build. Honor cut, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add honor cut to our build. And then we should be missing this one. We put Bramblestone in, we add it to our build, and then we could pull our character over and we could take a look. Now, this says my hit chance is 100%. This says my crit chance is 4719. And we know right away something might not be working because in-game my tooltip for Tempest Flurry tells me that I'm at 50%. So we know right away something inside of POB is not working yet, and it will eventually get updated. But the basics of what we're doing now is we're just trying. Oh, I don't actually have, I'm missing a jewel still. Holy, which jewel am I missing? Is it this one? It's this one. Add it to the build. Yep, see, we're still slightly short, 4719. So we put it in, 4873. So we're still a tiny bit short. But it'll all work out once everything inside of Path of Building gets updated. But the whole point is to be able to put our character in and see what's going on. Now, there's a node down here that says find show power node. And eventually what'll happen is this is going to slowly work towards your character and update to find you the best nodes that your character should be doing. So you'll click this button, it'll take a little bit of time. All of these nodes are being calculated towards your build and what's going on, and it'll find you the best nodes to use, and it'll show you a power report eventually down here on which nodes you should be taking and which nodes you shouldn't be taking. So we'll run that a little bit later in our spare time. We're going to save this again to make sure that we don't lose anything. And now we have our character input. We see we have a nice effective, our effective health pool is 5,000. Our character is weak as shit. It falls over and dies to everything. We find out our character can't take a fizz hit, that he just will die. In theory, will just die. We can look at our elemental hit. We can see that we're chaos immune. We can see that our spirit's not calculating correctly. And we got to figure out why we're missing spirit because, oh, this is why. Look, I didn't even put in my ascendancy points. Here you go. Boom, ascendancy points. Look, we're stronger now. We have more spirit. Everything lines up. Our crit looks good. Our crit works now. Oh, beautiful. Everything's working. We have good hit chance. Oh, everything's great again. See, and this is what I mean. You have to take the time to put in and make sure you click things. So now we have this beautiful character put in. Everything's saved. Everything's in. It doesn't look like the time loss jewel is working properly. It doesn't look like the Verana jewel is working properly, but that's fine. We have the basic idea of what's going on. Now the really fun part. We can come on over to the calculations tab and we could choose any of our skills and really get a good look at what's going on. We can see our crit chance, our crit multi, how far we can attack, what our accuracy rating looks like, how our attack speed, our sources of damage. We can see where all of our resistances are coming from. We can see where our armor is coming from. We can see where our evasion and total increases are coming from. You can actually take a look at every single thing. We can see that our calculations for our increases are not being supported currently. We see the Verana jewels not being calculated here for the strength, and you could take a look at everything. Now, once you're done messing around with calculations, we can come to configurations. Configurations is the really interesting part of the equation. It will tell us what's going on and what it looks like inside of combat. You've seen this 100 times before where you start doing combat, your tooltip DPS is jumping all over the place. You don't know if you're coming or going or what's going on. You're sitting there, you're like, oh my God, why'd my numbers go up? Why'd my numbers go down? What's going on? Well, this is how we figure all that out. So, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have all the quest rewards. We're going to put in everything that we took, and we're going to make sure everything in itself is selected properly, and we know exactly what's going on and how everything's working. That's step one. Step two, we're going to make sure that our elemental resistances are towards endgame, because that's what we're doing. We're in the end game. We're not in the campaign. We're not in Act 1. We're not in Act 2. We're in the end game. We want to make sure our resistances are set that way. We're also going to come over here and we're going to set it to Pinnacle Boss and Guardian. Regular standard boss is your tier 16 regular boss. Guardian and Pinnacle Boss is your like tier 0-esh, and you could see the resistance modifiers that are different. And if you want to calculate your DPS specifically against tier 4-esh, you would just click on this and you would take a look at what's going on. So we're just going to do Guardian Pinnacle bosses. And then we're going to put in the rest of our character's information. Does your character use power charges? Click yes. You'll see right away we have power charges that go on, and immediately our damage goes up because of charge staff. So we know right away charge staff is giving us 20,000 DPS. And then we kind of go down the list. Do you have frenzy charges? Do you have endurance charges? Do you have onslaught? Do you have arcane surge on holy might? Are you fortified? Do you have adrenaline? Do we use rage? We indeed use rage on our character. We get to 30 rage. Do you have mana burn? Are you on consecrated ground? Are you chilled? Have you dealt a non-crit recently? You know, have you dealt a crit recently? Do you have combat rush? Is Innervate active? And you go through all of these things. Is the enemy on full life? And you can see right away, because we use charge staff and we come to the charge shockwave, and we can see our crit chances 100% when the enemy's on full life. So now we know when the enemy's on full life with ambush, we 100% crit every single time. Is the enemy burning? Is the enemy igniting? Is the enemy chilled? Is the enemy frozen? We chill, we freeze, we shock. We do all of these things inside of regular combat. Now, when you set up your calculations for effective DPS, you have to decide one of two things. One, are you calculating your character for inside of a map and not bossing, or are you calculating your character for bossing? There's a lot of POBs and a lot of content creators that just kind of click all the buttons, say this is what it is all the time, and you never get a true accurate feel for bossing versus non-bossing. So you have to make sure that you spend the time clicking things and everything is set up right. Oh, look, everything updated. I don't know what happened. Everything updated. We roll with it though. And just make sure that you click the calculations towards your character, and you can start to see other things. Like, what if I got Onslaught on my character? How would it affect my DPS? What if I got Arcane Surge? How would it affect my DPS? And you could play with all of these things to your heart's content. Path of building, as it gets updated, as it gets fixed, as the calculations get stronger and get better, you'll be able to do like awesome things. Like, you'll be able to come down here, like, what if I just added 30 intelligence to my build, and you just like add 30 into your build and you could see what happens? Like, what if I get more int? What if I get 130 in? And you can see everything that's happening in real time, and you can add anything that you want. One of the biggest things too is a lot of people are like, hey, what's the best weapon? How do we figure out weapons? What do we do? And now we could take these weapons and we can open up Path of Building and import these weapons, and we can change our runes. So now we can really find out, was Fizz the best rune? Or was it elemental damage? What gave us the better damage numbers? And we could see right away in real time what's doing what. So if I come down over here and I click on this, we see right away we get 10% damage per elemental. That's crazy. That's insane. We can see what we get for damage for crit bonus. Look, this tells us right away. Crit bonus gives us plus 0.68%, but WED gives us 10%. So if I just change my runes and I hit save, look at the damage, bro. That's crazy, dude. Holy. The same thing here. Like, is this weapon better than this weapon? And then we come in here, we put this weapon in, right? So we're going to add this weapon in. We're going to take this weapon. We're going to add this weapon back to the way that it was. We're going to put it on Honor Call. And Honor Call's got Fizz runes and Fizz damage. But what happens if I put this weapon in with elemental damage? Is this better? And then we can see right away, Fizz isn't king anymore, boys! Get the Ellie weapons! And you can experiment with all of your gear. Every piece of gear you could put in. Everything you can change. Like, what if I went to my breach ring? And what if I had dex instead of int? You just hit edit and put in dexterity. Or what if I wanted to make an item and I just go, you know, rare, ring, and then I come down here to breach ring and I hit create and I go int dex. And I just pick a number. I put it to the top. I go to catalyst. I grab, where is it? Cold lightning attribute. I put in the attribute catalyst and I just want to see, does dex and int do better? and I add it to the build. And I say, oh, what's the difference between this ring? We see right away that it didn't update properly. We come down here to attributes. We change this to 50. This updates beautifully. And then we come back in and we put the real ring in, and we see right away what's better. Dex and int, dex and strength, and we can compare rings, and we see right away dex and int infinitely better than strength and int. And you can do this on your character and just kind of experiment and go nuts. Path of Building is going to be an insanely fantastic tool. It is going to be a little confusing to use. You're going to have to spend some time messing around with it. You're going to have to import all your stuff. We saw earlier, some of the stuff is indeed broken. Some of the stuff isn't updating correctly. You're going to have to put your gear in and be a little patient. Things will update, things will work, but this is the basics of what's going on. And you're going to figure out very, very quickly, this tool is insane. It is so powerful. And we get to see things like which weapon is actually better. Did I buy the right weapon? Is this weapon that's on trade 100 divs worth the weapon? And you can go to the trade site and look at gear and create the gear. Eventually, you'll be able to copy the gear off of trade and import it in directly, but you'll be able to put your gear into Path of Building and just be able to tell right away. So like a really good example is like, if I just like click on all this stuff here and I search this weapon, and I come to the trade site, I can look for these weapons. I'm just going to whisper. This guy's going to hate me. He's going to be so mad at me. Oh, D&D mode's on. All right, hold on. This guy's going to be so mad at me. I'm just going to be like, oh my God, sorry, wrong weapon. So we're going to whisper this guy. We're going to do this. Sorry. Wrong weapon. And now we can import this weapon from trade, and I can put runes in and see which runes are better. So let's just like type Fizz. We grab Fizz. We're going to put Fizz runes in really quick. We're going to add this to our build. We're going to pick the Fizz weapon. We're going to see right away. And then we can come down here and just do the exact same thing again. What's better? Crit chance 6%. Wed 7%. Fizz 2.4%. And then you can just go check all the weapons. You can check all the gear. You can check everything. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And we can figure everything out finally, and I'm so excited. But I wanted to make this video. I know it ran a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to show you guys the basics of Path of Building, how it works, what to do, how to get involved in it, and how to start figuring out, does my gear suck, and how do I fix it? If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. Stop by the live stream, stop by the YouTube, come by the Discord. I'm losing my voice. I'm so excited. But friends, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope this video taught you something. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.